Asset School celebrates 65 years serving students with its programs focused on gifted youngsters and those with dyslexia and other special needs. Like other schools, it's been challenged with the pandemic and reduced enrollment, but is working to provide more financial aid to those in need. We talked to Ryan Masa, head of Asset School, about rebounding during this health and economic crisis.
We did start pretty much as planned. We, unfortunately, like everybody, we were trying to open school in the middle of August when the state was spiking with numbers, but we were able to have our youngest kids come back on day one, and then we were bringing everybody else back in a matter of days or weeks. We were kind of phasing in the re-entry because there was just so much to learn for everybody else to learn about how to operate school in the pandemic. And so we were pretty much back with everybody by mid-September, early to mid-September. And then we still have a handful of kids in distance learning, really small number, who for their own health reasons or for the health reasons of their family, have chosen to stay at home right now. So we've pretty much, like I said, been in person the whole year. And I just need to start by thanking our teachers and our maintenance staff, who have just been incredible this year, making sure that everything is clean and sanitary and healthy and, giving kids reminders and just making sure that we all take care of each other. So we've learned a lot. The good news is that we've been able to be in person and together, and especially for our kids, that was so important for their learning.
So were you folks able to get your teachers vaccinated early on?
We were really fortunate. We were as engaged as we possibly could with the health department and the hospital systems and anybody who was responsible. And so we had teachers go to Pier 2, and we also had teachers who went to the Blaisdell. We were helping connect them to any available openings. And our vaccination rate amongst the faculty is over 90%. It's super high. It's only maybe one or two people who, for health reasons, can't get the vaccine right now. And so that feels really good. I think that was obviously a relief for everybody in the community to know that our most frontline heroes and workers, our teachers, were vaccinated.
How has the distance learning been? Because for students with, say, special needs, I'm sure that's just an extra challenge.
I think distance learning, at least at this point now, has become such an individual story. So, you're right. I think for a lot of our kids, it was really hard. They learn differently. That's why they come to Assets. They really thrive being face-to-face with somebody who's specially trained and helping them with a multisensory structured language program. And that can be done online, but it's a little bit more challenging, and particularly for kids who struggle with attention deficits. And so having all the supports of the classroom and the environment, I think, goes a long way. But then, of course, we also have met kids along the way who really love distance learning, and it works for them for any number of reasons. And so the ones who have remained in distance learning, it's yes, there's obviously health reasons typically driving that decision, but it also seems to be working for them well. We had a couple conversations with families who, there was no health reason for them not returning to campus, but they had initially sort of wanted to stay there because it just was working out well for their family, for their schedule, for that child. So, I think it's sort of the ethos of the school. It just sort of manifests is that, everybody's different and that we all learn differently. And so, one size isn't going to fit all, even in person.
You educate a broad spectrum of students, on the gifted side, those that are dealing with dyslexia and other, language, sensory issues. I think you've even got some kids that are on the autism spectrum. What have we learned from this pandemic when it comes to those students with special needs?
Well, I hope one of the things that we've learned as a society at large is the role that teachers and educators play in society at large, not just for our kids, but what they do for all of us. I think that hopefully we've all have a greater appreciation for schools and for teachers. I think specifically for kids who learn differently, I think you said it really well. I think, at the heart of our program is accepting and affirming that kids learn differently and that, they're going to need a much more individualized approach. We're going to have to meet them where they are and grow from there. And I think that the pandemic has forced other schools to adopt more of that philosophy. I hope, that we have to really tailor it to that child and where that child is in the particular moment. And I also hope, that one of the things that Assets that we strive for is because we know that kids are often coming, because, let's say, reading is challenging, and so they need, help learning how to read. But we try to spend as much time in what they're great at and what their gifts are, and really develop those muscles and let them exercise those muscles as much as the areas that are a challenge, because that helps build their resiliency. And I think, I like to hope that education has gained a greater appreciation of that too, through the distance learning, that kids need time with other kids, the social emotional part of learning, but also that they need to be finding sort of seeds of strength for themselves and not just focus solely on what may come more challenging.
And there's so many families that suffered because of the pandemic, not just the health side, but also the economic side. They may have lost jobs. They may have had their child enrolled at assets. And I know you folks offer financial aid for students there, but have you seen a drop-off of your enrollment?
Yeah, we did see a small decrease at the beginning of the school year. A lot of our families were hit hard, who were small business owners or who were furloughed. And you're right, the school has a strong commitment to financial aid. And even with that, some families made the choice that this was a year where, because of how much uncertainty there was in the world and in their economic outlook, they thought maybe they often homeschooled. We had a lot of families leave us for homeschooling for the year. Our financial aid requests have gone up, not surprisingly. We, despite our strong commitment, we have a number of families who continue to need financial aid, and that's something that pre-pandemic was a real core value for the school. We recognize that every parent needs a school where they feel like their child is understood and accepted and affirmed, and where they thrive. And that tends to be even more so for kids who learn differently, because they're so often misunderstood. And so we never want cost to be preventing you from getting to the school or staying at the school once you found it and you loved it, and your kids finally getting what they need. And so we're trying everything we can to make sure that we help as many families as possible. Every year we have an annual gala that's exclusively for financial aid. The last 2 years we obviously couldn't host it in person, and so last year was we went virtual, and we really appreciate everybody in the community who helped us with that first virtual event. And we used that money right away, straight for financial aid. And then this year we are doing the same, where there is a virtual auction. There are things at different price points: staycations, art, jewelry, some sports memorabilia, stuff like that. We'll have a live stream event. But then this year I think the pandemic, we've learned that things can get stale pretty quickly as everybody starts to do them. And so one of the things that we thought would be a great celebration was we produced a 1-hour TV show that aired on Hawaii News Now. And that was really, we were celebrating 65 years this year, and so that was a real source of light and joy for us amidst a really tough year. And so the TV special is it's often students and alumni and parents and trustees sharing their journeys to assets and why they continue to stay at assets, and what it's meant to them in their lives and to our community. And so it's been, like I said, just a real celebration of who we serve and the work that we do. And then it also mentions the auction. So certainly we welcome anybody who's still interested in helping our school and making sure that families are able to afford the school to check out our auction.
And so this program will live on your website, so that folks who want to know more about the school and its mission can just go online.
Absolutely, yeah. assets-school.org. You can go there, and we have messages that will easily navigate you to the auction site or to the program. The TV show obviously is the most ambitious thing we've done in terms of media, but we do have commercials. We had commercials leading up to it. We have a couple other standalone commercials that highlight open house opportunities. So we've hosted several virtual open houses. We have one coming up actually April 24th, and those have been really neat because we've been getting obviously people here locally in Hawaii, but we've also been getting people from different parts of the country who are considering a move to Hawaii and know that their child learns differently. We also have summer, so we've been trying to share, I should say, some of those other programs, summer programs, open houses, in addition to just helping more people understand who we are and who we serve.
That was Ryan Masa, head of Asset School, talking about marking its 65th anniversary. For links to its ongoing fundraising online auction, you can head to our website.